Some of you might remember that in recent times I made a video of a Macintosh LC3, which is functional but needs recapping in order to do more work. In order to, well, work properly. But the LC3 isn't really what I was after. It's a little bit too new. But I still don't really have what I was truly after, but I did get a little bit closer. And given the price that I paid for this, you really, well, you can't ask for much more. This, as you might be able to tell, is an original Macintosh LC, model M0350. I've already waxed lyrical about the history of the LC and the LC3 and the LC2 and all that. You can watch the other video if you want to see that, but suffice it to say, this one, other than this little ding here, is in impeccable condition. Close to about as good as they come. Taking a look at the back, the door here is missing, or sorry, the cover here is missing, which would go over the PDS slot, which is in there. But otherwise, it's basically the same thing as the LC3. No real difference. But there is one other big difference you might have noticed here on the front. This could have been ordered, and a lot of the educational machines were ordered with a second floppy drive, which is kind of odd to see in a Macintosh, because traditionally the Macintosh has been a single floppy machine. But, you know, back then, hard drives were expensive, and having dual floppies was a good way for users to have their own personalized macOS, because macOS didn't support user accounts at the time. So it was easy to have both your boot disk and also a data disk. It was nice to have that. Now, this unit has been recapped. I'm going to go ahead and actually take a look at how well it was recapped, because I have never opened this. Taking a quick peek, you see a TDK power supply that does have a sticker on it, or sorry, tape on it that says recapped, so I'm hopeful that the power supply has been redone. Taking a look here, it looks like this was done with ceramic capacitors, which is fine, you can certainly do that. What I'm looking for are signs of corrosion on the board, and it doesn't look like there really is any. The good news is there's no battery either. There, of course, is the PDS slot. And the 68020 processor. The LC2 had a 68030, same thing with the LC3. Now, these crippled machines, like this one, are certainly near and dear to me, although I have the 68020 Macintosh market covered with that Macintosh 2 that I've got, so I didn't really need this one, which is why what I was really after was an LC2. But beggars can't be choosers. Again, I got this for less than $200 shipped. And if you take a look on eBay, you can see that recap machines, people usually want over $1,000 for them, which I think is just ludicrous. You know, look at all the 2CIs and 2CXs and SE30s and Classic 2s and things like that. And, you know, the Color Classics, although the Color Classics are a different story entirely, because those are just expensive no matter what. I would like to have a Color Classic someday, but I'm not holding out a whole lot of hope, because they're just simply too expensive. Taking a look at the swim there, I don't see anything. There's more capacitors there. I don't see any obvious signs of leakage, so that's good. This was done pretty well. It does still have a hard drive. A lot of people put blue SCSIs in these things. I don't happen to be a big believer in the blue SCSI, mostly because I think it's about 10 times more expensive than it's actually worth. Yes, seriously. You know, I know that a lot of work goes into building the PCBs for those things, but it's not that expensive. Like, let's get real here about how it works. If it were a $30 part, oh yeah, I'd put a blue SCSI in everything. But it is honestly cheaper to go on eBay and buy a used hard drive for one of these than it is to go out and buy a blue SCSI. Yes, the Blue SCSI is guaranteed to work, except it actually might not be guaranteed to work because failures happen. So, yeah, anyway. For Mac LC only. That's the VRAM sim. Right there. As I try to kick something over here, which will probably fall over shortly. This thing is maxed out on the RAM. This LC could take a maximum of 10 megabytes of memory. Taking a look here, this is the memory, the DRAM. I'm kind of surprised that it's not fully populated. Kind of interesting. And it looks like, looking at some of these vias here, some of them look a little dark. I don't know that any of them are bad, you know, corroded or anything like that. The interesting thing about the LC and most Macintoshes at the time period is that the power goes completely through the board. You know, power supply's got a hard switch on the back here, but it goes through the board in order to get to the floppy drive, which is, well, it's the way it's always been. Power goes to the floppy that way. But also to the hard drive. You can see it comes through the board as well. That's a 40 megabyte hard drive. Looks like the battery cover is in good condition. The battery holder is in good condition, so probably hasn't had a battery explosion incident, which is nice. Speakers right there. And I think other than that, there's not a whole lot to point out. There's the egret. Hopefully that works. Okay, well, I don't know if this is going to work, because the only adapter I could find was that one. And I think that this puts out a video signal that requires use of one of the dip switch adapters. But we'll try. Yeah, the black video really isn't a good sign. Oh, here we go. Welcome to Macintosh. In grayscale, you can see all that interference there. I think that's because the monitor doesn't like the output signal. It's not got anything to do with corrosion or bad memory or anything like that. Mouse is working. I think. Computer is probably still thinking about stuff. This mouse is not really any good. Yeah. I am scrolling and it is not doing anything. Wow, this mouse is terrible. Okay. 10 megabytes of RAM, System 711. Yeah, this is not working, is it? Wow. This mouse is junk. Okay, good. Awesome. How much data is on this hard drive, if I can even see? It just made a new folder. And clicked off of my hard drive. And I just double-clicked. Now, there you can see, looks like a pretty empty installation here of System 7. So I don't know if the floppy drive's any good. I don't know if it was serviced. I don't remember. But hopefully it is. I suppose I can check. It probably won't read this. Yeah, this is not a Macintosh disk. I will eject it. Even the eject works. That's good. So it looks like we have a winner here. And I'll just have to do some software reinstallations. Like I said, the interesting thing is that I thought these had soft power. Well, it does have some stuff loaded. Power Talk keychain. I don't know about that. So this will probably be a candidate for a reload. As you can see, there is no soft power. But there you go. There's a quick video of a Macintosh LC. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them down below. Like I said, it's not really what I was looking for. What I think I really wanted was the LC2. But for less than $200 shipped, given the price of recapped Macintoshes in this day and age, and given I don't really have the time to do the recapping myself, well, I guess I can't complain too much.